there, it becomes everyone's. But when you put other people's business out, you become a target. The feds have officially indicted none other than 39-year-old Yuri Kachikian, who's more commonly known as GFace. If you're subscribed to No Jumper, you've likely seen GFace before. An Armenian immigrant, GFace would gain notoriety for his ties to the Southsiders, a predominantly Mexican gang with historic roots stretching from Los Angeles and all throughout the California prison system. Before his interview with No Jumper, GFace could be seen alongside controversial rapper Swifty Blue in a video that went viral warning visitors of Los Angeles to check in.
Gangland, the southern side. I'm right here with the homie from White Fence. Check it out, if you ever in Los Angeles and you out here handling business, make sure you tap in with some solid homies for your own security. The streets is dangerous. If you're not tapped in, you will get stepped on, believe that. You will get stepped on, believe that. The streets is dangerous.
Oh shit.
Tap in, tap the fuck in.
Swifty Blue would speak highly of GFace to Adam 22, securing a No Jumper interview that would gain over a half million views. GFace would describe moving from Armenia to Los Angeles at a young age.
Hey, damn, somebody gonna pay you to go to their city just to handle some business. You gotta check in. This gotta be just for rappers. This gotta be just for rappers.
And eventually losing his cousin to gang violence. Adapting to the culture, GFace would claim at only 15, he was arrested for 2 attempted murders on the same gang that took his cousin's life. According to GFace, he wouldn't be released until he was 34.
I'm from West LA, I'm from White Fence. I went to prison at the age of 15, so I wasn't really out here in the scene. I'm 38 years old now. I went to prison at the age of 15, I got out at 34. I got charged as an adult.
So what did you do that you got like 20 years?
Basically, my charge was attempted murder, 2 attempted murders, dropped down to the attempted manslaughter, and 3 counts of armed robbery.
Now this interview would spiral into a gang of conspiracy theories and accusations. Not only photos, but whole songs would be dug up showing a younger, less tatted, no beard having GFace rapping by the name Lil Ghost and claiming a gang known as Armenian Power.
Fuck all you rap bastards snitching and shit. Who's that tipping in the drop top pins? Lil Ghost Capone sitting on 22 dreams. Got the Glock on my side, extra clip for backup. Extended clips in case these busters act up.
This would contradict his original story of being from White Fence 13, a known rival of Armenian Power. Rumors began circulating that GFace, or Ghostface, or Lil Ghost, was attempting to cover up his past. Not long after, he'd be accused of snitching, and appeal transcripts would be discovered stating Ghost, aka Yuri, testified and identified in court the man that shot at him. Wack 100 would even confront GFace to his face about the paperwork.
So Yuri is a dude that...
No, Yuri's me. You talking
Yuri
about
is you.
Yeah.
Yuri admitted
Harmonious.
that at the preliminary hearing, he identified Abrahamian as the driver and the person who shot at him. And he had told the police that Skinny was the only person in the car. Is this real or fake? That's what that come down to.
I got the real paperwork right here.
So you said this is fake work?
His name and everything. Look. Check this out.
GFace was now starting to feel the heat, but didn't even know the feds were about to raise the temperature. A federal indictment would reveal Yuri, aka Ghost, and his wife were now facing federal charges for conspiring to commit wire fraud, committing wire fraud, and engaging in a monetary transaction in property derived from unlawful activity. GFace also seems to confirm his
They thought they could get away with it.
previous alias.
Can't get away with it, brother. Can't get away with it, brother. Bro, imagine just trying to cover up your whole fucking 20 years and say you was in jail, though. That's crazy.
As he's documented as Ghost, the one from Armenian Power.
What does he want?
So how the fuck did this happen? According to the indictment, Yuri and Yelena owned 2 businesses together and shared a bank account. Between July 2020 and June of 2021, the feds alleged the couple applied for small business loans and PPP loans by falsifying business documents. They'd received 2 loans worth $290,000 on top of a PPP loan worth $20,000. So why is this news? Well, it just so happens that while GFace was on No Jumper telling prison war stories, in reality, his face was no good. No matter who you are, if you've been to prison, you know there's always a cell waiting for you, and the wrong move will have guards welcoming you back home. GFace knew he had a target on his back, and his only way to get out was to expose the past he's been hiding. A motion for review of magistrate's order of detention would be filed on Yuri's behalf. The feds want to keep him in custody, and this was Yuri's lawyer's chance to explain why he's a good citizen and should be released from custody until trial. It would also state he has concerns about his safety during his detention. His lawyer would state although Yuri has led a colorful life, he is neither a flight risk nor a danger to the community. He has a wife, 3 children, a house, numerous relatives, and a remarkable thriving new business. In short, he has every incentive to stay in the United States. Leaving the US would not only destroy his business, but also put his family and himself at risk. Yuri has been a target of the Mexican Mafia since 2006 when he was stabbed repeatedly and left for dead. He cooperated against the Mafia members who stabbed him and has been forced to live with a green light hit hanging over his head. Since that time, there has been several attempts and threats on his life, including recently, and he has had weapons in the house to defend himself. Come to find out, Yuri isn't even a US citizen and is a documented alien. According to his lawyer, he came to the US at only 9 years old, and he checks in with ICE once a year, providing all of his information. His entire family is now in the US. He's been married for 13 years and has 3 kids aged 16, 13, and 5. He's responsible for taking care of his mother and mother-in-law, as his father and father-in-law both passed away. Opening a trucking company, he started with 1 truck and 1 driver before expanding into a thriving business. Then in late 2022, early 2023, he came up with an idea. Knowing the most difficult part of the trucking business is starting it, he offered to mentor anyone willing to pay his one-time $5,000 consulting fee. In his first year, he had over 700 customers, grossing $3.5 million legitimate dollars. For all of these reasons, ICE has chosen not to deport him. Unfortunately for Yuri, he didn't become a legit millionaire until after committing fraud, and now it was coming back to bite him. Yuri was now begging for a bond as his business depends on it, and each day spent in jail is another day his success fades away. Giving more reasons as to why Yuri isn't a flight risk, it would state in 2012 he caught a case and never attempted to leave. His lawyer would state if he were to flee to Armenia, it would almost certainly be a death sentence as he cannot protect himself there the way he can in the US. It would expose him in a way that he has not been exposed in years and would make it easy for the Mexican Mafia to have him killed. Now holy shit. This sounds nothing like the stories told on No Jumper. And if my math is math, then Yuri was born in 85. So if he got locked up at 15, that would have been the year 2000. And if he was stabbed in 2006, that means he was stabbed in prison by the Mexican Mafia and cooperated against them at only 21 years old. But if he served a 20-year sentence, he's 39 years old and was released at 34, that means he's only been home for 5 years. So how the fuck was he married for 13 with a 16-year-old, 13-year-old, and 5-year-old kid, and he caught another outside charge in 2012? Wow. Unless he lied about it all. According to Yuri's lawyer, Yuri was not a danger to the community, he is an asset. To understand his current position, it is necessary to review his history, both criminal and as a government witness. In 2000, at 15 years old, Yuri was arrested for second-degree robbery. The circumstances of the robbery did not involve a gun, and he was arrested for taking $40 from a person with a knife, sentenced to 4 years in prison, and given 2 strikes. So GFace, completely lied on No Jumper about avenging his dead cousin, attempting to murder 2 rivals, and doing 20 straight years in prison.
My nigga told the whole story.
The DEA became
My nigga made up a whole movie. He was like, bro, this shit sound good.
involved with Yuri back in 2005 when he was only 20 and began using him as an informant. He provided the DEA with names and evidence against several people that resulted in arrests and convictions. The government does not dispute his involvement with the DEA and his cooperation. After several arrests were made, including members of the Mexican Mafia, it became clear to the community that Yuri was an informant. Word was put out that he was a snitch and needed to be taken out, and shortly after, he'd be attacked by 2 men and stabbed multiple times. He managed to survive, but it would take months to fully recover. The Glendale Police Department pressured Yuri to give up the names of the 2 men who stabbed him so they could arrest them. At first, Yuri was reluctant because he knew it would lead to more retaliation, but the detective insisted, even threatening him with jail if he didn't reveal the names. Yuri was assured they'd be arrested and he wouldn't have to testify, so he gave up the names and they were arrested for attempted murder. Neither man would take a plea, meaning Yuri now had to testify, and it only took a little convincing before Yuri agreed and testified against them. He knew doing so would increase the pressure on him as a target of the Mexican Mafia, and he later learned he was number 1 on their hit list. The government back then realized he was in danger and arranged for him to move to Atlanta and start a new life. The move didn't go well, and he moved back to Los Angeles with his family. Within 1 year of moving back, he was attacked, and Yuri stabbed one of the men, sending him to the hospital. Yuri refused to cooperate at this point. He told the officers the reason he's in the position he's in is because he cooperated before, and he was never going to do it again. It was explained to him if he did not cooperate, he would likely be charged, as you can't go a self-defense route without cooperation. But for the first time in Yuri's criminal life, he'd actually do something honorable. He told the police he'd rather do prison time than put himself and his family further at risk. If only he thought like that before becoming a whole DEA fucking informant, he would have avoided all of this. Yuri would end up being arrested for stabbing and took a plea sending him to prison for the next 7 to 8 years. Law enforcement was aware of him being an informant, and the Mexican...
You should not be in no fucking game, bro. At this point, if you don't know this.
Mafia hit on him, so he was placed in protective custody. When he was released, he wanted to start a new life, but he still had the potential hit hanging over him. He moved to a location where he could not be found and started his trucking business. Finding success, he'd move his family into a home where he has put in larger walls, iron gates, 35 cameras, and part-time security. Yuri's lawyer would go out of his way to show that in 2024, the hit over Yuri's head is still very much active. To underscore the ongoing threat, Yuri received a recent Instagram message from someone named Bozo, who sent him a picture of his house with the message that his days are numbered. In one of the pictures, his wife, daughter, and dog are all visible. The Instagram message is saved on his phone that the police took during the search, and if they bring the phone to court, Yuri can show the threatening Instagram message. So apparently Yuri still isn't done snitching, and his online beef with Bozo is documented through social media.
So when I did this whole YouTube shit, what I did was I was gonna show my fans, haters, whoever's watching, nothing but realness, 100% authenticity. Well, I'm too rich for you to go to war with me, dog. Think about this. I could drop $40,000 right now for one of your little homies to off you, dog. You saying I'm a snitch. Why are you not doing something about it?
Yuri's entire criminal history would be summed up with the robbery for $40, stabbing someone, attacking him for snitching, and a fight in 2020 with one of his childhood friends. Yuri would plead guilty to felony assault with a deadly weapon and do 3 months in jail. At no point was he charged with attempted murder. At all times he was in protective custody, and currently GFace is being held inside the San Bernardino County Jail in protective custody because of threats on his life for being a DEA informant. When the feds raided GFace's home, they'd find an unregistered handgun in a bush, multiple guns in a safe, and $20,000 in cash. His lawyer would state the guns were for self-defense, and the guns in the safe were registered to his wife, who applied for the Los Angeles Police Department. His lawyer would also highlight how even though GFace is in protective custody, that is no guarantee that he can be protected. Michael Torres, a Mexican mafia member, was recently stabbed to death in the LA County Jail while in administrative segregation and thought to be untouchable. Yuri understands he's likely facing prison time for his federal charges and is begging the courts to release him to not only save his business, but so he can relocate his family to protect them. With all that being said, federal prosecutors don't give a fuck and don't want him released. If anyone was unsure about GFace snitching, his own lawyer would confirm he's the textbook definition of a fucking rat. And you'd think with all that money GFace made, his lawyers would have attempted to seal these documents from getting released. But no, his whole case is publicly available. His whole life story has been a fabrication made up in an attempt to find internet fame, and even though he found legitimate success, his past caught up with him. With any and all Fed cases, it can be expected that GFace goes to federal prison, but with his history of snitchery and the fact that he shot fraud,
his history of snitchery
full of inmates just like him.
Yo,
Yuri
1090 Jake is the
GFace
GOAT.
is a real example of how
funny,
snitching
bro.
can and does carry consequence. He's been stabbed, hospitalized, and targeted almost half his life because he chose to be an informant. He'd change his name, change his gang, and create a new storyline for the internet while flashing money and paying for friendships he never had. He'd recreate who he wanted to be while denying who he was. And now at 39 years old, he's back in a cell on the verge of losing it all as his past has once again become his present.
I'm just wondering who the niggas in the videos with him. They gotta know something, cause this shit crazy. There's no way you do all this and just come with some bullshit and you just make it famous. Can't be all fake. It can't be all fake, bro. It just can't be. It's gotta be some bullshit behind this shit, bro. That's it. That's a good video. GG's. GFace. We don't know who you is now. We know who you are. You know. Yeah, we don't fuck with you though. Alright, make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.